Hey, everybody, and welcome to the latest and greatest episode of the Fangirl Radio Show. I'm your host, Jessica Dwyer, and with me tonight are my lovely and talented co-host, making her triumphant return, Miss Sarah Buck.
Hello! Long time no see.
It's true. I still don't see you. I just hear you.
Ow.
Like a little devil in my ear. and you must kill Mommy and Daddy. And that would be the angel in my ear on the other side, the lovely and talented Mr. Erik.
Hello, everyone, but I kind of think of myself as the other devil in your ear.
Jessica just has two devils.
That would
no
make
angels here.
That would make a lot of sense, actually. So it has been a while. It's been about 2 weeks since we've last been on, and we are back with so much. Oh, so much. We were just talking before we started recording about how this year is basically Christmas for geeks. And
Geekmas.
It's Geekmas. 2015 is Geekmas. I mean, not only between the soon-to-be released, although already released, bastards over in the UK, I hate you all, Avengers Age of Ultron. But, yay. I know, but we're getting Star Wars at the end of this year, and just so many things. And yay. I know. We're getting to that. But so many things this year, and then on top of that, you got Crimson Peak coming, which is just, I can't even, words fail me when Stephen King is saying a Guillermo del Toro movie is the scariest thing he's ever seen. You gotta take it like that news that it is, which is, oh my God, yeah. It's an R-rated Del Toro horror film with Tom Hiddleston getting his sexy on.
It's gonna be great.
But before we get into all of that, speaking of Age of Ultron, something happened today that I am so sick of. And this is kind of my editorial rant. I don't think Sarah has heard about this yet. I think Erik has.
So I might scream a little right now, apparently, because apparently
this is anger.
Angry, and I'm pretty good at that.
So okay. What happened was, as I said, Avengers Age of Ultron has already released in some parts of the world at this point. And, of course, they're doing their press tour for it. And I really have a problem with this guy, and I had a problem for him before when he pissed off Quentin Tarantino. And that video is legend of Tarantino basically handing him his balls back and saying, you have no right to ask me this. I've been asked this 100 times. What's the point of this? They're basically just prodding and digging and trying to stir crap. So this Channel 4 News is Krishnan Murthy. I guess his full name is Krishnan Guru Murthy. He's notorious for this kind of crap that he pulled with Robert Downey Jr. Now, Robert Downey Jr. makes no bones about the fact that he had a very checkered past. He's a recovering drug addict. He did yours, mine, hers, drugs, and he makes no bones about that. But the thing about Downey is he's a redemption story. He's cleaned up his act. He's a very good man and does all kinds of charity work. Is a good guy. People love him. He's funny. He's a dad, and he's helping his own kid kind of kick his own thing, and just he's a good person, and he makes no bones about his past. So when you're doing a press tour for a comic book movie that kids are going to be seeing, that you've already done things like help to make a robot arm happen for a kid and things like that, you don't expect the douchebag that's reporting on your movie to start prodding you about your political views during an interview about your comic book movie where you're fighting an army of giant robots. And so this guy starts in on, well, when you were in prison, you said that your political views changed. What? And then it goes from there.
That's a weird non sequitur.
Well, no, and then it gets worse. He starts asking him about his drug use and all this other stuff. And you can tell Danny's he's taking it like a champ. He's sort of like brushing it off. And then when he starts digging again about the drug use and everything, you see someone off in the corner is sort of like cut, done. And Downey, you can tell, he's given enough cues to say, hey, I'm here to talk about my movie, not about something that happened 20 years ago. And the guy just doesn't take it. He just wants to get his soundbite. He wants to be the one that pushed Downey Jr. into talking about his sordid past. And Downey's like, you know what, dude, I'm done. This is getting all too Diane Sawyer. And he actually calls the guy a schmuck and leaves.
Yeah, well, I mean, it just doesn't make sense.
Well, it's because
to ask about that.
He's being a douchebag. And that's what this guy does. And if you haven't seen the Quentin Tarantino interview with him, it's classic because Tarantino just gives it right back. And it makes no sense. And this guy looks like a douche. Well, he's done it again. Now, this time, and I've been putting this everywhere, is the fact that I think Downey should pull his weight on this one and push Disney and Marvel and tell them, look, this guy's an asshole. Sorry, it's what he is. And if he's going to be doing any more press rounds for any of our future films, I'm not doing it. I'm boycotting it. And I'm going to tell everyone else in the cast not to talk to him. And he can do that because Downey is the man that got Marvel to pay everybody the big money for these films. They do what he says because Downey is the reason 90% of the people go to these movies. Because he's Tony Stark. And this is why people hate press people anymore, is this kind of crap. And it makes us all look bad. It's like previous interviews we've had on the show. I've had guests, I'm not going to say who, because that's their business and they're allowed to do this. They have caveats when it comes to interviews because of this very thing. And it's stuff that I don't care about, you shouldn't care about, and it has nothing to do with their art, really, unless it's like somebody that is doing a redemptive piece or a book or something about their life. And I think Downey has made no bones about the fact that Tony Stark's redemptive story is basically a mirror for his own life. And that's why it was such a big deal for him to get. But when you start bringing this crap up in interviews that are supposed to be focusing on the film that they're making, and you make them uncomfortable, and you're doing that, that's when you're an asshole.
Yeah, well, and, I get that, a lot of journalists get frustrated with kind of, fluff pieces and stuff like that, but I feel like there's also a time and a place to be an investigative journalist.
And this is called you're basically you're sucker punching them because this is not what they're there for.
And it's totally pointless too, because it's like, dude, read the room. There are not people watching this who really care about if Robert Downey Jr. is I was just looking over an article as he's asked him if he was completely drug free and just needling him, it looks like, and it's just well, it doesn't matter. Well, none of your business.
Well, and the other part of this too, and what he was saying is, he was asking him about an interview and a piece that he did for the New York Times, and it took place 7 years ago. He's asking him about an interview from 7 years ago that has nothing to do with Avengers: Age of Ultron, and it's like, what? You're not, dude. Learn your place. You're not Barbara Walters. You're not Walter Cronkite, sir. You're here to impress for a Marvel comic book movie and you have 3 minutes with the guy. That's what they're here to hear about. They're not here to hear about, his drug use or his political views. That's not what you're here for. And this is why guys like Bruce Willis and get so sick of it, they just start screwing with people.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead.
A press tour is a very specific thing. And if, as Sarah said, someone is tired of doing fluff pieces or press tour type stuff, then you tell your boss you don't want to do it. You don't do it and try to turn it into something else.
See, and that's what this guy does, is he gets in, he's lucky enough and blessed enough to get in these rooms with these high-end celebrities like Tarantino, like Robert Downey Jr., like whoever. And he just tries to make this statement, I guess. And if I was Channel 4, I would really debate on if I should keep him around, because he's pissing off everyone.
Well, and also it's like, as a journalist, you want to be topical. Like, it's not news that Robert Downey Jr. went to prison and had a problem with drugs. That's not news. That's not getting to the bottom of anything.
Well, and that's and it also kind of feeds into the other thing that I was angry about today, which was people are making this huge deal over Chris Evans and Jeremy Renner making a joke when asked a stupid question about how is it that your characters feel about the Black Widow playing both of you, and now she's dating Bruce Banner in the movie. And first of all, thank you guys for ruining a plot point of Ultron for us. Thank you. Secondly, their response, they started laughing at the stupidity of the question and then called her a whore and, oh, she's such a slut. It's like, yeah, you know what? They're joking. But now there's this big cry of outrage. Like, how dare they call her? They're slut-shaming her, blah, blah, blah. No, they're not. They're making a stupid joke over a stupid question that made no sense to be asked. They're not their characters. And
it's totally context. Like, read the context. Don't take a quote and, like, just clip it. Clip it just for the... Like you said, soundbite.
The outrage is now in fandom that this is why we can't have nice things. How dare these guys? It's bad enough that she's a woman and being marginalized. No, she's not. Not here. Not with these guys.
I would lay the blame firmly in the lap of whoever asked that question.
Exactly.
Because honestly, the root of like that slut shaming is accusing her of playing them and then dating someone else, because they didn't make that assertion.
No.
And the movie isn't making that assertion. It's that person was like, how do you feel about that B word, huh? It's like that person is showing a really unhealthy attitude.
Yeah.
Now,
the fandom, the thing that I'm irritated about is fandom's taking it and making it out that Chris Evans and Jeremy Renner are the bad guys. No, they're not. They're making a joke.
And like, maybe it was a poor... I didn't hear the interview, so I don't know what word they used specifically. I doubt they used horse.
Yeah, they did.
They did? Okay.
Brave
of them. Like, but either way, the words... In order to... slut shame someone, you have to kind of imply that what they're doing is like simply accusing someone of that. I feel like it's a tough line to walk, because definitely if you're just like using it, but
the fact
it was a reactionary thing. Maybe their words weren't the best chosen, but they were reading a question.
What they were doing were they were mocking the idiocy of the question itself, and the fact is, people are taking this so seriously when the fact of the matter is they were joking. The fact of the matter is that question was stupid, and they replied with stupid, which is all it was worth.
Well, and they were mocking. They were like, nice question, guy.
So people, first of all, two things. One, choose your battles. This isn't a battle that you should be fighting. These guys are good guys. I mean, Chris Evans, for the love of God, just like Robert Downey Jr. has gone to children's charities on his own dime, by him, on his own. He is not an ass like you're trying to paint him out to be. Secondly, if you want to get pissed about something, get pissed about the fact that the Black Widow as well as Scarlet Witch aren't on anything that tied to this film.
Yeah, like that's definitely a choose your battles thing. It's like, okay, well, why aren't you asking them to merchandise these women more? Like, put them on some t-shirts for girls. I know that I go to Target, I can find tons of Avengers stuff for little boys, nothing made for little girls.
Well, it's not just that, it's all everything. He's the only one not on the t-shirts. And expose came out, they were talking to someone that worked at Disney that I read that basically said they think that little boys don't want anything with girls on them. Well, you know what? It's not just little boys that buy this stuff. Secondly, that's crap, because I know of little boys that think she's badass, and she is. And poor Scarlet Witch, she's not on anything. And the same thing happened with Gamora in Guardians of the Galaxy. Everything else had everybody else on it but her. I mean, I think I saw one t-shirt. So if you're going to get pissed off and you're going to start accusing people about things like, how dare you, you're unfair against women, go talk to Disney. Go talk to Marvel. They're the ones that are unfair to women. They're not putting them on anything, and they're marginalizing their importance in the story. So for one thing, Black Widow, if you want to go just cinematic universe period, was around before Hawkeye, even.
Yes.
And Hawkeye's on this stuff now. So it's just, to me, it's crazy.
From what I hear, Hawkeye is not even in the movie.
See, I'm trying to see. This is the thing. I'm trying really hard to stay away from everything now because it's all out there.
I had a Marvel person drop some hints at me about how, which I'm not too upset about, because it's like, well, I mean, it's not really a spoiler, because it's just somebody who's not in the movie, you know.
I didn't even realize that a new Mission Impossible movie was coming out until like a month ago, and I'm like, oh, that would explain if he wasn't in the movie that much. Yeah, because he's in that.
Yeah, he is. But yeah, so, people. I'm just. So the other part of this is avoid the internet until the 30th of April, if you can. Yeah, apparently. But, yeah, on that, like, it's, people get upset about weird things. It's like, take a step back and kind of, like, there's definitely things out there to, like, rage about. There's so much out there. But some things shouldn't be, and take into consideration the context of what people are talking about. Take into consideration the thought that, oh, let's make everybody afraid to say words. You know, like, that's always a little bit hinky to me. Like, you never want to be like, get into that dialogue of like, if you utter this word, then... Well, back to the thing that at the core of this is crappy reporting and not really focusing on what you should be focused on. I'm always amazed and feel lucky when I get to talk to someone like this. Like if I was sitting across from Robert Downey Jr. and I had like 2 minutes of his time, oh my God, I would just like pull open his head and like dig in to all the stuff that he's ever done in film. Like, what did you go through to learn how to be Charlie Chaplin? What did you do? You know, nobody let Jessica near Robert Downey Jr. Yeah, I'm going to rip open his head. Open his head. And dig out his pretty brains. We want to keep him around a little bit longer, at least. You know, that's the thing is, I'm amazed by it. It just floors me still. So, anyway.
Well, my biggest problem... My biggest problem with this whole story is that any true Marvel fan knows that the sluttiest character in the Marvel Universe is Tony Stark.
Amen! Oh God, so true. Erik just nailed it on the head. Howard is getting up there, though. Oh, Oh, I got more
Well,
news.
yeah.
I got news about Howard coming up. I got news about Howard coming up too.
But I also challenge these interviewers is like, if especially with the guy with Robert Downey Jr., it's like, well, if you're sick of your job, or if you feel like you're not given pieces that are like good enough, there are ways to create a dialogue, and any reporter's job is not to make people stop talking. Their job is to get people to talk. So if you're pushing and you're making people you're stopping the conversation, you're not doing it right.
Well, and also putting them on the defensive and making them, you're antagonizing them. And that's not how you get people to talk to you and give you, insight. You're just pissing them off, and they're going to fight you. And it's not going to give you anything good. It's just going to make you look like a jerk. And
Well, I think I watched the Tarantino interview after watching the Robert Downey, and he said, I've been asked this question, I've answered this question, it's out there on the internet already.
Yeah.
I don't feel like answering it again. Let's talk about something new.
yeah, like my movie that I have coming out, which is what
Which
we're
was
here.
the whole point of the interview.
Exactly. So I'm so annoyed. Anyway, let's talk about something good. Let's talk about iZombie.
Yeah.
I don't think it's good, but what
That's your opinion. You're
Well-
allowed.
is my
You're allowed.
I'm gonna veer off just a hair here, because I was going to say the best thing about last week's iZombie was Ryan Hansen, because Ryan Hansen makes everything better. But then I saw the superpowered Fight Club ad for the Flash and Arrow, and that was amazing. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. I'm stuck where I have to watch it on Hulu. I actually watched this week's already, and I saw it. I don't get to see
Well,
previews.
they had this. It was a just a very long ad where the Flash, Arrow, Canary, Firestorm, Captain Cold, Heatwave. What is John Barrowman's name? Merlin.
He's called the
He
Dark
was in it.
Archer. The Dark Archer now is what
Yeah.
it's called.
All in a cage match.
Holy crap!
Just first it was Arsenal, Canary, and the Dark Archer, I guess, if that's what he's called. Those three fighting, and then the Flash versus Captain Cold and Heatwave, and then Firestorm shows up. Just this sort of brawl.
So is this on the Flash or is it on Arrow?
It was just an ad, a promo for both shows.
Oh my God, that's
crossover.
And no, it's not even. It's nothing specific. Just sort of
It was
here,
just
fanboys. Look at this.
Look at this, what we can have when we
It's-
combine things.
It's not going to be anything that's in the show. And then at the very end, Ray Palmer shows up. He's like, "Hey, did I miss it?"
That's awesome.
That's cute.
That was so. Again, I loved the iZombie episode, but that kind of blew me away last week.
Well, and the thing about this week's iZombie, they kind of set it up like you were going to think that Major was going to be dead, and I thought that was.
Yeah.
I was like, "Wow, really?" Because even Mike Allred was posting it on Twitter. I'm like, "Really? You're going to spoil the damn thing at the what? No bullshit."
Yeah, that was kind of. Oh, wait a minute.
And then, of course, he wasn't, which I'm like, that I was okay with. But I got to go again, man. Our boy is
David Anders?
he is just winning. He went all American Psycho this episode this week.
Just fantastic.
He's so good. He's so good at just being a bastard. I love you, David Anders. You're a bastard.
And he's so cool.
I know.
And the detective goes to question him. He's just like, "No, hey, you want to come back and look at?
There's a
Search the place."
There's a torso laying here. Come on back. I loved it. I can't wait to see how this all pans out. And I'm worried though, because they're kind of acting like this may be on the bubble, which really, really, really sucks if that's the case. I
I enjoy it.
I love it. Go ahead.
iZombie, for me, like, the comic book is so outside the norm of what you see a woman doing. And then with the show, they put it so far, so deep, they just destroyed everything beautiful about that comic. Like, they destroyed absolutely any kind of, like, empowerment aspects of it, and I saw the pilot and I was like, no, I can't do this.
See, I guess I have the advantage of I've not read the comic.
Well, and I've read the comic, and I think it actually I like how it's given her the abilities that it does in the show. I think it gives her character. They changed it in a way where her dying has allowed her to really live, and she was such a controlled person at the beginning in the series that now that she's able to go through, like the art episode really was a key in that one, and I love the episode where she it was the one before this one, I think, where she eats her ex sister,
sorority sisters.
And she realizes, wow, I was wrong for kicking her out, because all she's doing is like trying to do her best, like to live and be out there. And I really like that, how it gives her that range to do that kind of stuff and enlivens the character. Plus, you have to remember that this is the guy that did Veronica Mars.
And I hated Veronica Mars.
You're like the only person that hates Veronica Mars.
Yeah, because, well,
you're the only person.
People really love when feminists are the villains in a show, and I just was not okay with that. But no, iZombie, like, the beautiful thing about Gwen in the comic books was that she wasn't trying to, like, like, they introduced Gwen in the show, and she's like this high-strung biatch who, is going to be a surgeon, and she has, like, this, like, pretty boyfriend, and, like, she just falls so far within that, like, hegemonic, like, this is what a woman should be.
But that's what the point of the show is about, is that she breaks from that.
But she doesn't, because, like, in the end, she's still, like, fighting to regain that. Like, whereas in the comic book, there was no cure. There was never a cure.
But there's no cure in the show. And right now in the series, she is actually moving on from Major and has found a guy that's also a zombie. And she's trying to come to terms with all of this and using her abilities for good, and trying to come to terms with what's going on with her. And it's really, you should give it a chance. Give it more than a chance than one episode.
They took out the diversity in it too. Like, where's my were terrier? Where is that?
Give them time. It's only been on a few episodes, but
I can't. It's just so, like, rich white women and their rich white women problems that, like, and the beauty of Gwen was that she worked in a freaking cemetery. She really didn't have anything to prove to anyone, and she was such a badass. Like, in the most reasonable sense ever.
Well, the other part of it, too, that you're missing not watching this is Raul Coley, who plays Ravi. He is amazing. He got this. He just went in and got the part. He's a complete geek in real life, and he just decided to break in and do this one audition, and he got it. And he's amazing.
I love him on there.
Oh, God, he's great. And he's a huge, huge geek. This guy, he actually, I follow him on Twitter now, and he actually said that he broke into when they were filming Attack of the Clones, he broke in and got on, like, the set of it while they were filming, like, these big shots of, big fighting shots, and, like, snuck in and got on camera or something. I thought, that's awesome. You're crazy, man. But I really love his character. He's great. And I actually like Major, too. I love the fact that his name is Major Lily White.
Oh, God, that's so creepy.
It's
just, like, the worst name. Immediately when you say that, I'm just like, nope.
I think that's the point, is that it's post, and like it's a play on words, just like her name's Liv Moore. It's brilliant. It's really witty. I think you should give it a shot.
I was so disgusted. I was just so disgusted by, not to mention the scene in the pilot where Major and his new girlfriend were playing, both quote unquote playing a video game, and it wasn't in split screen. There was obviously one person playing that. I'm like, ooh.
You need to check out this last episode. It's yeah.
I just like the fact that they just took all that from Gwen and just made her another basic, a really basic female model of what people think women on television should do, and they just took so much of what made Gwen really like a unique female influence.
In this series, you got to change it up for TV a little bit, and I think for this, how they're doing it is the fact that she's lost interest in everything, and that's part of becoming a zombie with her. But now with this newfound abilities and the newfound reason to go, and she's realizing now what she was missing out on even beforehand, and I like that.
I know, but I hate telling women that it's like, oh, well, like, if you don't want to do things that are social and build relationships, you're a monster. You know, it's like, oh, well, thanks, television.
But she was doing that beforehand. What she was doing beforehand was she was living this ideal life, and now she's realized that's not, even living. That wasn't really living, and I like that. Now that she's different and odd and weird, and having to, she's best friends with a morgue guy, and he's the only one that understands and she can relate to. It's interesting, and I like it, and I love. Once again, I love David Anders. He is so good in this.
Like, I really wanted to like it, but I just don't know if I'd be able. I'll try it. I'll try one more episode.
Try one more episode, because I think the second one's the art one, isn't it?
But I just think that they so far missed the mark. They so far missed the mark on what that character should represent. Like, I'm just like, oh.
Oh, and then, by the way, the next episode apparently is she's going to eat the brain of a pregnant woman that died.
Jeez. Okay. No, well, that just, oh, God. Really? Really?
Don't watch it. It doesn't sound like it's for you.
No.
Just don't even do it. Channel that anger. It's something that deserves to be angry. But anyway,
we have to have an episode where she experiences the emotions of a pregnant woman, because pregnant women are scary.
Well, I think it's more like this pregnant woman died pregnant, and that's kind of horrible.
It is, but so many gender norms.
Well, men can't get pregnant yet.
I'm away from
So men can't get pregnant yet until they fix that.
They can. They did. You didn't hear about that? No, they developed an implantable womb.
Oh God.
No, it's true. It's like, Google it. It exists now. It's, if a guy really wants to experience that, of course the baby would have to be born by cesarean section, but
where would it? How would the hormones get? I don't understand.
I think it's, maybe was developed not only with morbid curiosity in mind, but probably with transgendered individuals, couples.
Interesting, and I'd love to see how that works.
I know, right? It's crazy.
So, Game of Thrones is back.
Yes!
I think she likes Game of Thrones.
Oh my god, I love Game of Thrones.
Now, I posted a thing that made, there's a lot of anger in this episode. I posted a thing online, I reposted it, I saw on Yahoo's front page that I still am like angry about this. Marie Claire's website did a supposedly, I guess it was supposed to be humorous, piece about this last episode last week. And, and they were making fun of, Illyria, I believe her name's Illyria, her hair being cut in a cute little bob. She had time to get her hair cut in a cute little bob in between her boyfriend getting his head smashed in like a grape. And that's literally, I think, what they wrote. And
That's not very
I'm
nice.
like, wait a minute.
Also, it's been months.
First of all, she's in mourning. She cut her hair off because she's in mourning, you ass.
This is what happens when people try and get a cheap, like dump of people on their website purchasing their product who don't really understand what they're talking about, but do it anyway.
Yeah, it's like, Marie Claire, you are not a geek website. You are not a geek-friendly magazine. Just don't. Okay? Because I know it's like the hot in thing right now, I'm waiting for you to do like the best clothed zombies from Walking Dead next. Just don't. And anyway, Game of Thrones has, I like the fact that they've actually seemed to have found their balance for the multiple stories that are going on. And in these last 2 episodes, we've actually got bits from everybody.
This season, I think they are starting out so good because this season is all about movement. Everybody was a little bit, focused in the capital last season, and it was all about the capital. It was all about what was happening at the palace. This season, it's like, okay, now we have movement. It's like Walking Dead, where like they were at the prison for a season, and it got, by the end of that season, everybody was ready for them to be on the move again.
Right.
And so for Game of Thrones, now everybody's on the road and everybody's traveling, and it's exciting. It feels very quickly paced, but not too quickly paced.
Right, and that's the thing. It is. Everybody is basically traveling right now. Jamie and Bron's back.
Yay! Oh god, I love that Jamie bleeping Lannister. I was like, oh yes, thank you.
I was like, when he said, "I'm not going to go alone," I'm like, who are you? Oh my god!
I'm like, Bron. No, and I'm like, I'm so happy that we get to see Jamie Lannister on the road again. He gets so consumed with his weird relationship with Cersei when he's like next to her that I can't wait to see him out and on his own.
I love the fact that there's always one set of people that would make the best on the road movie, and it's.
Has anybody done the True Detective season 3 thing with Bronn and Jamie Lannister yet?
That we've only had the 1 episode, so not yet, I'm sure. But it's this. It was so good, and Drogon came back, and for a second,
it was like tears.
Oh, and poor Dany, she's just like, no one loves her anymore.
But I am so impressed with the bravery of that character, and if you've read the books at this point, the show is going so far off book.
Oh, they said that they are. Yeah, nothing safe anymore.
So no, and she's just kind of like amazingly well handled because she's such like this character who has this like really like difficult like backstory. And then has assumed so much power in such a little amount of time. And she's like, what? Like 15 or 16 years old?
I think they made her older in the show.
They made her older in the show because of like, like the whole stuff with Drogo, called Drogo in the beginning, because that would have been like, not okay. But in book terms, like she's like 15 or 16 years old at this point. She's not very old.
Right.
And they portray her as older in the show, but they don't portray her as wizened. You know, I thought they did a good job with that because she's still, the actress looks very youthful.
Well,
And
the other part of this I like too was the fact that they made her have to make the hard decision, and she did it, and knowing that it was going to suck.
yeah, no, oh, that was like, that scene was beautiful and heartbreaking. It shocked me because I was like, up until the end, I'm like, she's
not going to do it.
She's not going to do it.
She's not going to do it.
She's not going to. And then it was like, holy crap, she did it. You know, it's like, whoa.
So the other thing that I loved in this episode, and I was like, no, give me more, this sucks, is the fact that we finally got to go to Dorne. Yes! And we got to see Alexander Siddig looking beautiful.
It was beautiful.
Oh, yes. And I love the fact that we get the sand snakes. I hope we get them next week, because I want to see them. And I just love that whole scene with him and Illyria. Just basically, she doesn't care. She doesn't care anymore. You know, she's lost everything.
I love the whole metaphor of that, the palace in Westeros being like poison. Oh, you know, it just kills there's lots of people who die by poison there, but also like, it's like she's been poisoned by being there, and she brings that back to this place where like her lover like really had a lot of pride about how they don't play these games and they aren't cruel in Dorne. And of course she, though, has been poisoned by...
And did you notice how she was in black?
Yes.
And no one else was.
Yes, she has been poisoned by the Lannisters, and just the city in general. Which
is so good. So I can't wait for next week. And let it be known, Erik here probably has no effing idea what we're talking about, because
sorry,
he has
Hodor. We love Hodor, but we don't get Hodor this season because there's no Bran this season. So
yeah, and when we see him again, he'll look just like John Oliver, which is
he will. Oh my God, he so will.
He's gonna look just like John Oliver.
I didn't even think about that.
There's a meme out there that even talks about that because it's so freaking true. He is becoming John Oliver. But so anyway, that I can't wait for Game of Thrones to continue. Here's the thing. Here's the one more thing before we move on. The rumor that's going around is the fact that the faceless man Jaqen H'ghar is in fact her water dancer and sword instructor.
I've entertained that thought.
God, that would be great, wouldn't it?
I think they're such different characters, though. I don't think her water dancer instructor is dead.
I hope it's him.
They did not show his death. I've thought about that a little. I don't know that I'm convinced yet. Like, I could see them tying that. I would not be like disappointed. I wouldn't be like, oh, that's cheap. You know, no, that would be clever because they talked enough alike.
Yeah.
But just the guy who plays Jaqen H'ghar is just different enough that I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe she'll find her water dancer instructor because I don't think he's dead at all. But I don't know that him and Jaqen H'ghar are the same.
Well, and the other thing, and I've just talked to some people about this, and this is kind of a theory that a lot of other people have as well, is I think at the end of this we're going to have Dany joining forces with Jon Snow, Tyrion Lannister, and Bronn, Brom. Is it Brom or Bronn? Bram Stark. What's his name? Bran. It's too similar.
Well, and
I keep saying
there's that whole thing about the three dragons, and
right.
I think it's Tyrion, Jon, and
Dany. No, I think Bronn is, because remember he told him, yeah, you won't walk again, but you'll fly. I think Bronn is going to take over.
Bronn is the mercenary.
Yeah, whatever. The one that can't walk is going to end up doing his mojo with a dragon. And
that sounds kinky.
And that's how he's going to end up flying again. So you're going to have Winterfell represented. You're going to have a Stark there. You're going to have Jon Snow, and you're going to have Tyrion Lannister being a dragon rider, which would be freaking great. And I think you're going to have Jon Snow being a dragon rider. And so you're going to have all three houses, all three of the main houses coming together, or actually, I'm sorry, all four of the main houses, because I think what's going to happen is Jon Snow is going to, in fact, end up being Robert Baratheon's son. And,
no, I don't think he's Robert Baratheon's.
Yeah, I think he is, because he and Ned were best friends.
See, I'm
and he looks like him.
He is black of hair, but I'm a fan of the fan theory that he's a Targaryen.
No, I think what it's going to... here's what I think. I think it's going to be... He's going to be Baratheon. He and Dany are going to get married, because that would mean he is actually the one in line for the crown. The two of them are going to rule. You're going to have Tyrion there, so you're going to have a Lannister, and you're going to have Legolas Wonder as the... doing his stuff with the dragon. And then all four houses are going to be together and fighting the White Walkers. And that's how they're going to win. Because what better to fight ice than with fire?
Yeah, I don't think that there'll be any, Jon Snow getting married, though, because now he's commander of the Night's Watch.
Well, that could be, too. But it's going to be all the houses together. And he's going to end up being the one in line for the king. Although Dany as well. So it could be either way. But you will have all four houses represented, and they will come to peace. And I think that's how it's all going to end.
I just love Jon Snow so much, because he's so stubborn. I'm just like, I love you so much. Because he's like, no, I will follow the rules. It's adorable. I'm just like, I don't want to cuddle you so much.
A very long time ago, we had him on the show. And his voice...
When he was in the Silent Hill.
Yeah, and he actually... his voice is much deeper than he has in this show. And it took a moment when he was talking for me to go, oh yeah, I need to talk back.
I love Jon Snow, and I'm so happy that now we get to watch him be who he's meant to be. He's commander of the Night's Watch, and he's so dedicated to that. It's just... It's nice to see in the world of Westeros, where there's really nobody really likes each other and everybody's a dick. So,
well, before we we only have a little bit left, so let's get into TV news and movie news while we still can. So TV news wise, I am very happy about this because I am enjoying this show immensely. Lip Sync Battles is getting a second season. I love this show, and if you don't love it, there's something wrong with you when The Rock is up there saying Taylor Swift. It is awesome.
I haven't seen it, but that sounds amazing.
Oh, you have no idea. You have to see it. It's just...
Is that on Hulu?
It is on YouTube everywhere.
Okay.
And just this last week, John Krasinski was doing Tina Turner in a dress.
Nice.
The other news that came out today, no word on casting, but there is the announcement that Galaxy Quest is getting a TV series.
Which will be tremendous fun.
I hope so. But
I mean, how could it not? They had such low expectations in that film. The filmmakers were like, well, we'll do our best, and
it turned out to be a classic.
Yeah, and so you can't really go wrong at that point. I can see somebody maybe overproducing it, and that would be the biggest mistake to make.
The only thing I can see being a problem is them doing exactly what they did with Zombieland, the pilot for a TV series that, thank God, never got made, was they tried getting people... It was just horrible. I don't know what they did. It was just bad. And yeah, don't ever do that again. Please, God, cast this correctly and don't try to recreate something that is already perfect. Just do something good with it. The other big news, though, that I'm excited about, and I told you we're going to talk about Tony Stark Statty. Dominic Cooper is officially cast as Jesse in Preacher.
I heard
Nice.
that, yeah.
And I am very excited. And they actually just announced another cast member today, and I'm blanking on who it was, but this is actually pretty good. I didn't think about Dominic Cooper playing Jesse. I'd heard there was talk of it, but it works. It actually works for me. And because I love Jesse, and Dominic Cooper has been in a lot of. He's the best part of some of the worst movies I've seen in the last couple. It's like, oh, Dom, at least I know he'll be in it, and it won't suck completely. But yeah, I'm excited to hear him talk with his little Southern accent. Hopefully, he'll have a Southern accent. He better have a Southern accent, right? Because he's
Got to sound like a Texan, right?
Yeah.
I think he can handle it.
I hope so. I want my hick to come out of him, and he's so damn cute. I'm sorry. What?
He's adorable.
But here's the other part of this is right now, Agent Carter's on the bubble, which I can't believe.
That's crazy talk.
Agent Carter is on the bubble. There's a 70. The last word was 75% chance it's going to be renewed, but apparently, people thought that it didn't have the good enough ratings, which I think is crazy.
That's ridiculous.
Everyone I knew was watching it, so I kind of am thrown by that. But
I don't know how that even is reasonable.
It's such a good show. It was so
unreasonable
good
to say.
The other thing is, that is getting renewed, is Daredevil, which is not a surprise to anyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and we're getting it a year, and we're getting it a year sooner.
Yeah.
Because they had planned on putting more out in 2017, though it might have just been like a 6-episode mini segment leading up to the Defenders. But we get season 2 in 2016.
Yeah, and then,
oh my god, I'm so happy.
Jessica Jones is getting filmed right now,
yes,
and I got to see David Tennant in purple. David Tennant in purple. Sorry,
I'm a little bit disappointed though that I don't get to see David Tennant in nothing but purple body paint.
Wait, because we're not done yet. I think that photo that leaked of him walking to the set was just him in his clothes. I think they may just, there's a couple things. You have to have him have purple skin. That's just a requirement. So I think either he's got his makeup on, which I've heard that he'll just put flesh colored makeup to cover it up, or they're going to digitally do it, or he hadn't been made up yet.
Because he's not always purple in the comic.
Right, because he's wearing makeup.
Yeah.
Because he has to be purple.
I know.
And he'll taste like grapes. What? No, I didn't say that. God, no, I didn't.
I don't know, grape or eggplant.
I'm okay with this. I don't care.
Anything edible, I'll take
I'll take it all. What? No. I'm okay. So, going on to movie news, though. The trailers we have been hit with, boom, 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 boom. So, Chewie, we're home.
Oh my god, I cried a little.
I bawled, and I bawled a little bit more. And
I know the rest of that trailer was really good, but that's literally the only thing I remember. I blacked out an hour of my life.
I remember I remember going, oh my god, it's a giant crashed Star Destroyer.
Absolutely.
And then I didn't even notice that there is an X-Wing, I think, in front of it, in the ground.
Yeah, there's an X-Wing in the foreground.
Oh. And yes, that is Luke petting R2 with the
the metal hand.
Yeah, he pet R2. And apparently there's one shot of Leia handing a lightsaber to another girl. That's her hand. So, there's just so much. There's just so much good. There's the whole thing. They released about it is Luke talking, and apparently they layered the audio. So the reason he sounds younger in parts, because I didn't even think it was him at first. I thought it was.
I didn't either.
But they layered his original lines with this. new read, and that's why it sounds sort of it sounds different, but it's not. And I love the fact that they actually made him repeat the line, "My father has it," not in the past tense. He has it. So now everybody's like, is Vader in this? Is Anakin going to show up?
No.
What's happening? No. I
That's-
don't think it'll be Vader, but I think you're going to see some ghosts. There is a very good chance of ghosts.
They had that. I mean, they had that shot of the helmet.
Yeah. You're going to have some ghosts in here. And there's really not more we can say about Star Wars' trailer that hasn't already been said, other than Jesus, God, Christmas. Christmas is so good.
It looks so good.
And it's going to implode the box.
I was like, oh my god. And yeah, the Han Solo bit was just like, oh.
I love that they recreated the shot, that shot.
Yes.
And he looked like Solo. Yeah, the hair. Sorry. So the Jurassic Park, the new Jurassic World trailer came out, and I don't know.
I'm surprised at the angle they took. I'm gonna be honest. It seems a lot more aligned with Michael Crichton's vision.
Yeah, the genetic research and everything.
Yeah, like I'm excited for it. Did they do a good job making a trailer? I'm gonna say no.
I wanted more Chris Pratt and his dinosaur
Raptor training.
His Raptor people. I wasn't playing a Raptor squad.
What the hell are you doing? Get out of there, Star-Lord. Like, they're going to bite you.
But no, he's training them. They're his pack.
Chris Pratt and the Raptor pack.
Yeah. Oh God.
The band.
And then I'm gonna save the best for last. And then Terminator Genesis happened, which I'm not even going to justify talking about.
What? I think it looks fantastic.
Seriously, you're not joking.
No, I'm not joking.
What remotely looks interesting in that, other than the fact that they've completely ruined the movie for anybody that had any care? With a 2.5 minute long trailer, they basically told you everything.
I didn't really get a lot of plot out of it.
Because it's all the plot that's already happened. It just looks horrible. And this whole I am Skynet in form of John Connor, really? You're gonna keep with that because that works so well. Everybody loves Salvation so much when Helena Bonham Carter was the ghost of the machine. But
you don't love Arnold in it?
No.
Oh my god, I love him. I'm like, oh, you big angry teddy bear robot.
God.
I don't know where Matt Smith was.
And Daenerys Targaryen as Sarah Connor. Now Cersei and Daenerys Targaryen have played Sarah Connor.
And I would have preferred Cersei coming back. I really would have. And the other thing I can't stand in this is the guy they've got playing Kyle Reese. This is
Courtney?
my argument for that. It's like,
no,
Kyle Reese was nothing but some guy who looked nice, and I feel like the actor they got fits the bill perfectly. He looks nice.
They should have brought back Anton Yelchin, who looks like a young
Michael Biehn.
Michael Biehn. Thank you. And he talked like him. Oh my God, he was like the best part of Salvation. The few minutes that he was in that, he was Kyle Reese as a kid. It was amazing. He channeled it. This guy is way too middy and way too big. The whole thing with Kyle Reese was he looked like a normal guy that was a soldier.
Yeah, but they're like retconning it, so I'll give it to them because you don't have to be like, you don't have to have everything look like the original if you're retconning something.
Then why bring back Arnold?
Because he's awesome.
They completely threw out Robert
WrestleMania?
Patrick. They completely threw out Robert Patrick. He's now some Asian guy running around as a T-1000. I'm like, what?
I don't know. I'm super excited. I'm going to say, did you guys watch WrestleMania?
No.
Okay, so at WrestleMania, for his match with Sting, Triple H came out on a hover platform dressed as a Terminator. He had an army of Terminators and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and they had a big film on the big screen of Arnold Schwarzenegger giving, I'm pretty sure he said the "I'll be back" line. You know, like he gave a Terminator line. No, it was epic. It was freaking phenomenal. I was like, because Triple H is really like, he has like outrageously huge entrances into events, and he really outdid himself this year. That's Terminator suits. Yeah.
So, speaking of fights, this is all I'm going to say about Batman versus Superman. This is all I'm going to say. Batman sounds like the Jigsaw Killer because for whatever reason, they deemed it necessary to have a voice modulator in his suit. So the whole trailer, I'm waiting for him to go, "Would you like to play a game, Superman?" I'm like, what?
Is that going to be his voice through the whole movie, or is it just going to be when he's in the armor?
It's going to be when he's in the armor.
Like, okay.
Because you can tell it's got that tinny.
Right, so...
I think I said this on Twitter, and I was like, well, Ben Affleck looks really good. Like, he looks nice. He's filled out really well, and from his last role, and cute as ever. The rest of the film is just like... Also, where the heck are Aquaman and Wonder Woman?
They're not going to show them. They didn't even show freaking Lex Luthor.
Yeah, like, it's like, okay, so you guys are throwing all these big names in there. I have absolutely no hope for this movie. I don't know if I'm even going to go see it. Like, at this point, like, I really don't want to. And, like, if you're going to put Wonder Woman and Aquaman in it, like, why even do that? Why not just make a Batman versus Superman film? Why are you putting them in it if you're not going to give them any previews? If you're going to... like, not hype them, they're just writing them off.
They're rushing, trying to catch up to Marvel, and they're going to screw it up royally.
But they already have.
That's
like,
what
there's just no coming back.
We are a year away from the release of this movie. There's plenty of time for more trailers.
I know,
with
but
more footage.
It doesn't change that they're still rushing, putting these movies out, cramming as many people as they can into them, without giving them each a separate film.
And it's like, if the argument is it doesn't come out for a year, like, look how much they've gotten done on it.
Yeah.
Like, look how much they've finished. It's like, well, okay, so you were making a Superman versus Batman film, and you obviously have that pretty well nailed down, and then you're just randomly adding superheroes to it?
Totally. That's totally what they're doing.
Crap.
Wait, Sarah. Let Erik finish his words.
I'm not saying that DC isn't just screwing up everything, because it seems like they are. You know, they had the director of Wonder Woman left.
Oh yeah, and I'm not surprised.
And I've heard, I have no idea if there's any truth to this, but I've heard that some of the movies like Cyborg and some of the others that they announced are all kind of up in the air because they want to see what happens with Batman v Superman and Suicide Squad, because then they may decide to spin off some of those characters and not do the other films that they already announced. So I'm not saying DC isn't just crazy. All I'm saying is it's for this specific movie, we have a year for them to slowly roll out more footage for trailers. Do they really want to give it all away in a trailer that's, a year away from the release of the movie?
This is a problem with filmmaking, though. It's like, we had a Batman versus Superman movie, and they were jamming on that. And then suddenly they're like, no, we want to add this person. And no, we want to add this person. Like, how is this not just going to end up like this thing that's like trying to be really big and exciting, but it's just like, this is going everywhere, and it's chaos, and where did the storyline go, and what? That's how I imagine the plot of the movie goes.
I think.
I don't think it's going to be that good, but.
Here's the thing that I find amusing, though, Erik, and we got to wrap this up pretty quick. But the thing that I find amusing about this is they made such a big deal about this trailer coming out. And then they did a special IMAX screening of the trailer with additional footage. And apparently that additional footage was just Superman and Batman running at each other.
My friend thought it was 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Of additional footage.
And then they gave out bonus posters to it, like posters specifically for the IMAX trailer screening. For real.
Oh. No, and the director, writer and director leaving Wonder Woman, I'm not surprised. Like, that more than anything seals the deal that they were not treating her with enough agency.
Oh, no, not at all.
Like, that, if that director's, like, walking away, that's because she has a problem with the way they're treating the character. And they did cite creative differences. Well, like, because I've heard, well, what if her dad's sick? I'm like, first of all, wow. Second of all, no, they cited creative differences.
I'm gonna end this episode on a happy note because we're way over, but I have to end this on a happy note, which makes me just giddy. One of my favorite Disney movies is Beauty and the Beast.
Oh yes,
and the live action one just added their Lumiere,
and it is
Ewan McGregor. So this has like the best cast ever. You got Josh Gad, Luke Evans, who has redeemed himself for me after being in everything. He's okay in this because he is playing Gaston, and he's going to be perfect. But the best part of this is Dan Stevens is playing the Beast, and Ian McKellen is playing Cogsworth, and Kevin Kline's in it, and Emma Thompson's. It's like,
Emma Watts and Emma Thompson.
I know.
I'm like this. I'm like,
Ian McKellen is Cogsworth though with Ewan McGregor. Like, oh my god!
I have a lot of hope for it because I love Beauty and the Beast, but as an older adult, I'm so disappointed in the message it sends to young women. I'm just like, oh, that is a very abusive relationship. But the fact that Emma Thompson.
Oh, Emma Thompson. Emma Watson was Harry Potter. Emma Thompson was married to Kenneth Branagh, which, if we want to talk about a bad relationship, But
so the fact that Emma Watson is in it, though, is that she is a vocal feminist activist who created a foundation called He for She, which is men and women working together to destroy sexism. So the fact that she signed on for this, I'm like, yeah.
Well,
okay.
I think that the Beauty and the Beast that Disney did, and I love that story anyway. I love Beauty and the Beast, and I love the whole. If you've never read it, go out and find a book called Beauty by the gal that wrote The Hero and the Crown, and read that version of it. If you've never read it, it's by Robin McKinley, and it is one of my. I've read this book 18 times in my life. It's one of my most favorite books of all time, and it's a retelling of it that, it's just brilliant how it's done. And this Beauty and the Beast is done by Disney. Really reminds me of it because it's the gal in it that is Beauty Belle / Belle, whatever you want to call her. She is very, very, very intelligent. She's very, very independent. She reads. She's that her beauty is not the primary thing with her at all. She doesn't even realize that she's gorgeous. It's very good, and the Beast in it is awesome, and it's just super great version of the story. But I think that's what you're going to get with this, and I absolutely love Dan Stevens because if you have not seen The Guest, you need to, and you will see, oh my God, he's so good.
That is such a great movie. Yes,
and I can see him when he's the Beast just being a ferocious character, and it's just going to be perfect. And he looks like a prince now. He always looked like a prince. He really looks like a prince now. And I'm just excited about Ian McKellen playing Cogsworth and Ewan McGregor being his
like,
clown.
What? was
And
crazy.
Luke, you can tell Luke Evans is going to ham the crap out of this as Gaston. Oh, God, I'm so excited. It's a sadness. All right, guys. Well, we need to cut this off because I know we're way over, but I want to thank you guys for listening. And Sarah and Eric, thank you for being on again.
You're welcome, and thank you.
And we will see you next week, possibly with a new interview. I will let you guys know if that's going to happen. But yeah, thank you for listening. This has been Fangirl Radio, and we are signing off.
Night.
Bye-bye.